recording in Zoom. Right.
Oh, right.
3, 2, 1. Here we are. Mr. Lane again.
We're back.
We're back. After like we almost could call it a hiatus, but it's all my fault.
Well, how long's it been? Don't seem that long to me.
It's a while. It's a few, a couple of months, and it just.
That's all right.
All we need to say is, as we were just chatting in our little preamble, it's real life, man. It gets in the way.
It does.
It gets in the way. Yeah. Even though I teach guitar for a living, and I never want to say any of my students get in the way, it just takes up so much time.
I don't know how you guys do it, to be honest. I finish work at the end of November, and I've got no time. It's nuts. I don't know where it all goes.
Yeah, it's because you're doing things you enjoy, you see.
I think so, yeah. It'd be nice when those things start to pay the bills, but...
yeah. Wow. So, episode... sorry. I've got to get used to not talking over you, Bob. Sorry. I still not got used to not being able to interrupt people as easily on these recordings.
You have to wait for the slight pause.
Yeah, you have to wait a minute. Yeah. I look a bit dark, don't I? But this is not very professional doing this on recording. See if we can get a little bit more light. I just don't like this wind at the side of me. That's slightly
It's
better.
all good.
Right.
All right.
So episode 4.
I don't know how we came up with this one. You must have come up with
I
this
think
one.
I suggested it,
Yeah?
Yeah. We've had so many ideas thrown about, and then when you don't do it for a bit, you forget which ones. Mm-hmm. There's more.
No, I like this one. I think this is going to be a good one.
It might be a bit long as well, so we'll put some chapters in.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
So, what I thought we'd ever think about is 5 hidden gems from our record collection. All right? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know about you, but I could have picked a lot.
You see, I don't know. I could have gone really random.
Yeah.
On some things, because when you suggested it, I initially thought it's going to be albums in the 1990s and 2000s, and that's what it's happened. Like this weird musical landscape where the stuff I was into originally is totally out of fashion. Yeah. So I was trying to find other things which kind of sounded similar. So that's what I've kind of come up with.
Got you. So, right. Okay.
Unless you wanted to go really deep into the 80s, then.
No,
could have come up with some different things.
I agree with you. What I've tried to do is not go too out there, too esoteric, as I just said. I like that word. And people who know me, and you know me well enough, as I've also already said to you earlier, I've tried not to just pick Pearl Jam side projects.
Is there a lot?
Several. Yeah. Each. If you think about the core lineup, plus with obviously Matt Cameron's been the drummer now for quite a long time. But yeah, all 5 of them have done several side projects. In fact, one's just sprung to mind now, and I'm thinking, why did I not say that? But never mind.
You can give some shout-outs at the end.
I'm going to, yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah. So I've not tried to go too out there. And I don't know, maybe if we've got any viewers in America, which fingers crossed we have, some of them might say, that band was reasonably big here. So maybe what I've tried to do is my selection is geared towards thinking there are going to be people in this country, the UK, who probably won't have heard of some of these. But it's funny when I've looked through out of the 5 that I'm going to talk about in detail.
In detail, guys.
In detail, yeah. Well, look, come on, by now. You know me. Once I start, you can't stop me. Well, relative detail. All right. I think at least 3 of them, they were dropped not long after the album was released, which seems to be a common theme.
Yeah, it seems to be on a couple of mine as well.
And the same, and as well, Bob, bands that did one album that did quite well and got good reviews, so they got a second one, but the second one was the one I like, and that didn't do very well.
Right.
So I've tried to not go too out there. And I've tried where I can to keep a little bit of a hard rock connection, but I couldn't do it all the way.
I've got mine here.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. We'll find some tenuous links if we need to. Right. Do you go on then? Why don't I'll be gentlemanly. You go first then. You do your first one. Oh, can I just say these don't have to be like top 5 like we did on our top 5 albums. It's just 5. Yeah. Go on then. You go first.
Well, I'm going to go chronological.
Okay.
when they were released.
Yeah. Thanks for
and
explaining that.
If you've heard of any of these, I'll be very impressed.
Okay.
If anybody's heard of any of these, I'll be impressed. And my first one is from a gentleman called Rick Price. And I don't know if people can see it.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
This came out in 1992. I've got some notes somewhere. Look at that handsome fellow.
Yeah.
That's a rock star right there.
It is.
Looks about 15 though.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Good hair.
So this album, 1992, I think I probably had it just after, around 93, 94, something like that. It's just a great singer-songwriter album. Guys from Australia.
Right.
And if you had to say who he was similar, if you like stuff like Richard Marx and Michael Bolton and all that kind of thing.
Can't beat Richard Marx.
Oh, man. Amazing singer-songwriter to this day. But yeah, Rick Price is frigging great. And I heard this, and it's just, if you like those kind of guys and like your melodic AOR kind of stuff, it's such a great album. I'm just trying to think what songs. Not a day goes by. If you pull up the video to that on YouTube, it is so drenched in 1990 cliches. It's all golden, like that weird gold filter that all those videos used to have back then. It's like that. And yeah, it's just great. It does a cover of Walk Away Renee, which I think the Four Tops did originally, which I wasn't familiar with at the time.
Yeah.
That's a great song. And A House Divided is a great song. But yeah, it's from Australia, but lives in Nashville now. And
I've got a feeling, have you mentioned him before? No?
Maybe,
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
So just tell me again, how did you discover this then?
Well, it's when I was hanging around with a guy called Luna from Derby, who I'm still in touch with now.
Yeah.
And he was like a real, he knew all the shit about melodic rock. And he told me about it. And I copied it. And strangely, about 10 years later, I was in like a Poundland shop. And they had a stack of these Rick Price CDs, which was the most random thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think was it released on Epic Records in 92?
So big label still.
Oh, God, yeah. It did really well, I think, in like America and Australia. He's a massive star to this day. He lives in Nashville now, like where all the singer-songwriters are. Yeah,
Sorry, I was going to say, did he play, or has he played with any bands, or has he always?
I don't think so. I think he's always been a solo artist, and now he does lots of production work and stuff like that, and writing with artists. You remember, what was the girl's name? Was it Tina Arena from?
Oh yeah.
Did some stuff with her. I think on the album that follows this one, there's a duet with the two of them. So so if you like your really slick melodic rock, try and find out Rick Price.
I'll have a listen.
There's a few videos online, which is great. I love it. I still listen to it nowadays.
Do you? Yeah.
The wife hates it.
Does she?
Soppy.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
really soppy.
I'll have to have a listen. How would you describe his vocals then? What's his style?
It's well in that Richard Marx thing.
Is it?
It's a little bit more higher pitched than Richard Marx.
Right, but quite a clean voice then.
Yeah. Insanely good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I think it's Do you think that marks out the better singers? That if they've got that cleanness, do they sound more trained, or have they trained more? Do you think, or
that's interesting. I don't know if any of those guys are like properly trained singers. I'd like Richard Marx has got a book out now, so I wouldn't mind diving in, because that was a weird one. Because when Richard Marx came out with, I mean, he had an album before, but the first I heard of him was Right Here Waiting.
Yeah.
And that was like a massive video on MTV, but it showed him all on tour and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, where's this guy come from? Right. You'd think he's almost like been in a band, now he's gone on a solo career. I think he's just always been a solo artist.
What year was Right Here Waiting, Bob? Do you know?
It was about 87, 86, 87.
That sounds about right, because I can vividly remember sitting with the guitar and just working the melody out.
Yeah,
along one string and playing along with it. Yeah, so that would be on a nylon string acoustic. That would that would probably tie in. Yeah. All right, I'll check him out then, because I do quite like. I mean, obviously, you can't beat your gravelly singers, can you? I mean,
no.
You think about your Sammy Hagar, his peak, and obviously I'm a Eddie Vedder fanboy. Or you think about, I don't know, there's so many of them. I mean, Roger Daltrey and his Pom. I just think some of his
Rick Price ain't gravelly.
So what I was going to say, but then when you think about other guys, that have got that really clean voice.
Yeah.
It's a completely different thing, but you can make it work. But you probably do tailor the music around it a little bit more, don't you?
I mean, this album.
Sorry, I'm going to say, does it veer more towards the pop side?
Oh God,
more
yeah,
mainstream,
totally.
doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. If the guy didn't have long hair, it could have probably just been
Yeah.
a regular pop band. But I can never pronounce the guy's name, but it's produced and mixed by, is it Chris Lord?
That's in.
I never know how it's pronounced.
It might just be Aug, yeah. But that's interesting because I think he does at least one of mine. Yeah, well, he's world renowned, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah.
He's got all like what's it on Pro Tools and stuff, hasn't he?
Yeah. Is that what do we think now, Bob? Several years down the line from our initial sort of moves into that sort of music and into the hard rock thing, how do we feel in retrospect? I'm going slightly off topic already, but
it's all right.
About the way music's, certainly the sort of stuff we listen to, like the rock stuff, the transition away from I'm not saying overproduction, but the very clean sort of thing.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
I walk very much in the middle of it, to be honest. Because now, I'd never used to be able to tell, but now when I record stuff, just the most basic thing when it comes to recording, if it's not to a click, I can usually tell. Yeah. And people say, oh, if it's not done to a click, you get the real feel of the musicians. There's all that movement and stuff like that. But sometimes it makes me go, ooh, it's a bit.
Yeah.
So I would personally always like record stuff to a click. I'm a sucker for all different kinds. I walk straight in the middle. I love like really polished pop music. I do still like the sound of a real drum kit. You can sometimes tell.
Yeah. Or when they've triggered MIDI,
right,
with a drum sound, I can tell that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting you say that about obviously modern pop music, especially. But a lot of that stuff I suppose they could do it then, but it's like quantitized to within an inch of its life. It's almost too perfect, isn't it?
Right.
Do you remember when when you did your first straight to video? Now, which song was it? Was it Misery that when Mickey did the drums for it, you realised how much it moved? Yeah. Was it that song? I think it was that one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, if I sit down to listen, not like the really like Murmur era REM, but even a bit later on, you can tell that's they've not recorded to a click with it. They've done it, and I think that's much more pleasant to listen to.
Yeah.
So if we jump forward, go on. No, you go on.
I think it might be on modern day recordings where I notice it more than older stuff. If that makes sense. So you mean I don't know why.
You mean a modern recording where they've not where they've done it live in a room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I seem to notice that more.
That's probably because the production's better, so it's all cleaner sounding.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
It's interesting.
Bring it on. What's your first one?
Yeah, no, I better do one, haven't I? Well done, Bob. Well done, you pushed me like right.
What year is this one at?
This is 2000. And I'm going for a Pearl Jam side project from the first one.
Okay.
So this is the Rockfords.
Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
So this is Mike McCready's Pearl Jam lead guitarist. This is his first. I think it's his first side. Well, no, it's not, is it? Because he would have done Mad Season before, so that's wrong.
Okay. I've heard of that.
Yes, that's one I suppose. Should I have said Mad Season? But then they were much better now. Yeah. So this came out in 2000. So Mike McCready in the at some point in the 80s was in a hair metal hard rock band.
Right. What was it called? Do you know?
Shadow.
Right. Solid name.
Yeah, not bad, is it? And if I can find a picture, I'll put it up.
Yeah.
I've seen some pictures, and it's big hair, everything.
Mint.
And I think the story goes very, very potted that they moved to LA to try and make it like a lot of the bands did, and didn't. And he ended up he'd given up. I think he still played, but and then he was at a party. Someone gave him a guitar, and he was noodling on it. And Stone Gossard was there, Pearl Jam's other guitar player.
Man,
Knew of him and said, "Do you want a bit?" And the rest is history. So there you go. You see, but at least I think it's 2 or 3 other members of the Rockfords were in Shadow.
okay.
So he got back with them and they made this record.
Where are they based out of then? Was they considered like, are the Rockfords kind of considered a LA band or?
No. I think they are. I think they came out of Seattle with this. Yeah, because I'm never quite sure. Carrie Acre. I'm not quite sure how you say it. The lead singer. She and I think 2 of the other guys were in another Seattle band, who I've not heard. I think they were called Goodness. Yeah, Goodness. So
right.
Yeah, there's a Seattle, as well as McCready.
Yeah.
There's a
Cool,
Seattle backstory to it. But this is quite. You ought to listen. You'll like this.
Yeah. What's it like?
It is quite hard rock sounding. Nancy Wilson from Heart sings on one of the songs. But yeah, it's definitely got hard rock sensibilities. There's a bit of
how much of a release did that get?
Reasonable, but I don't think it sold that many. I mean, this was on Epic because obviously Mike was signed to Epic, so
okay,
it was released on Epic. So and I think it's reasonably well thought of amongst sort of Pearl Jam fans. But I don't think it didn't.
Did they do any videos or anything for it, or any touring? Or?
I think they did a song called Adelaide, and I think that I did it. Yeah, they did some tours from what I know, but reasonably low key.
Yeah. What a great position that must be in.
I know you don't.
All these people say like, "Oh, I did this solo album. It didn't do nothing," but I bet you did that solo album and you were able to go out and tour it. And
yeah, exactly.
you didn't have to worry about feeding
Yeah.
your family because you got.
Yeah.
That must be a lovely position. Like, right, I feel creative to go into this path now. I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, definitely.
That must be wonderful.
Yeah, and plus the fact he's reconnected with old bandmates as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 3 of them. There was 2 brothers and then another guy. So I think all 3 of those were in Shadow with Mark McCready, and then I think they were in this. At least 2 of them were in the band Goodness with the singer.
Okay. I'll have a look for that.
But yeah, it's definitely. I think it'd be right up your street. That's one of the reasons I love the record. But that's one of the reasons I picked it, because you can hear the melodic hard rock thing coming through quite a bit. Definitely a bit of Aerosmith, bit of Cheap Trick, probably a bit of Kiss at times, but obviously with a woman singer. So it's got that. I mean, it's like I say, it's 2000, so it's quite modern sounding, but not in a like metal way.
Yeah.
It's I hate the term classic rock. It's classic rock, but it doesn't sound dated. Let's put it that way.
How was you hearing about all stuff like that? Was you in some kind of Pearl Jam?
I was in the
message board.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, geeking out. Yeah. Well, I was in the Tang Club, the fan club, for a long, long time. But I think you used to buy magazines, didn't you? You used to. You remember that?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, even in 2000, I was, probably in Kerrang or something, and I saw he was doing this side project. But yeah, message boards, I would have thought.
Nice.
I just
superb.
Every single side project from Pearl Jam, I just took it on.
Yeah. Have you met any of the guys from Pearl Jam?
Oh, I wish.
Yeah.
What a fanboy. Yeah. No.
I'm just generally interested.
No. I've seen him several times, but I've never got backstage, Bob.
Yeah.
No, never mind,
One day, brother.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I think you'd like that record.
I'll check that one.
Definitely.
I'll check that out.
Right. What's your next one then?
Next one up, 1995. Now, speaking of like, we're on about recordings, and I say everything's got to be to a click, everything's got to be bang on. This is probably as far from it as it could be. But this one, if you can see it, you see that?
Yeah.
I think I've got my notes here. Band called Gingersol.
Gingersol, right?
It's just a little EP. Oh, what have I done there? I've done something weird here. That's a good question, because I can hardly find out anything about this band. I found out about this. It was on, trying to think what the name of the magazine was. I think it might have been Frontiers or something like this. So we're talking like mid-90s, where nobody's covering hard rock bands or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think there was a magazine called Frontiers, and they used to do a cover mount CD.
Right.
So there was like the dregs of anybody who was still releasing any kind of melodic rock. Then every now and again they do the odd other kind of band. And this Gingersol song came on. It was the lead song on here called "The Nicest People," And mate, it's just fucking brilliant. This EP has been such an influence on me
Right.
as I'm going to say as a musician and seeing things as being achievable. This influenced the straight to video EP, which I did,
Yeah.
and so many other things as well, because it just sounds like a band in a garage playing.
Right. I like the sound of that.
It's fucking great. It's just like raw guitars. If you want to, it's kind of where my like love of Soul Asylum kind of.
Right.
It's where all that kind of meets, and I love this to this day. Every now and again, I'll revisit it and put it on. And they've done a few things since. I think the band kind of split up, then came back together again with a couple of different people. The main guy is a guy called Steve. Let me make sure I pronounce his name right. I think it's Tagliere or Taglieri.
Right.
And he's constantly been the main member of the band. But yeah, it's so great, man. Check it out. Gingersol.
And what year is that, Bob?
1995.
95. And how did you get hold of that CD then? Where?
Selector disc in Nottingham.
All right.
Yeah, it came through for me. And
why did you buy it? Had you heard of them then? Or?
yeah, just aired it on that cover mount CD.
Oh yeah, right, got you. So then you, yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant that came on the magazine.
Oh no, it was just like one of like 15
right.
tracks
like
and all
a
this
taster
other stuff.
thing.
Like,
yeah, got
yeah. Because there used to be a band called 10 that they were heralded as the great new melodic rock band, and I could never get into them.
Right, 10.
But then
What year would that be?
they're around like mid 90s.
Right.
But yeah, but this Gingersol one, it sticks with me today. I mean, when's 95? Is that like
When's
20
95? Yeah, 20
26 years ago?
Yeah, blimey.
And
Oh,
it still sounds brilliant.
Don't think about it, Bob. Just don't think
Yeah.
about it.
We-
Very good. I'll have to check
I tried
it
to
out.
find some information about the band, and in one of the early bios, someone described them as a scruffy gin blossoms. Which is
Oh,
a
that
great
sounds
way.
good. Right, I'll definitely listen to it. Yeah, very good.
But
Excellent.
the main guy, Steve, see this Tagliere or Taglieri.
Right.
He constantly records stuff now. Every few
Yeah.
months, he'll put a new album out online, or like very acoustic kind of things.
Yeah.
But I'd love to find out more about what Gingersol did. I think they like toured around with all this similar kind of bands, like
Yeah.
Gin Blossoms and
Right.
stuff like that, but never
Right.
really broke. But
Yeah.
I'm forever grateful for hearing that song on this
Oh, right.
cover mount CD. That one,
Yeah,
it's good.
I'll have to check that. That description makes me want to have a
Scruffy
listen.
Gin Blossoms. You'd be
Yeah.
in straight away, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I can imagine that. Not quite as polished sounding. A bit. I like
Yeah.
the idea of that. Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
great. It's
Very
great.
good. Right. My second one. This is a very good album.
Let's go.
This is a band from London called Minibar. Not the greatest name for a band, right? But
Never heard of this one, man. I'm kind of in.
this is
Already.
brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant, right? And I forget about it, and then every so often I'm just like, what should I have listened to tonight? Oh, I've got to listen to that. So these guys actually, you're like, I'll tell you that in a minute. So these guys are from, I think originally from London, but you can imagine.
What year's this? When is it?
Why did I not write it down on my notes?
Looks like late 90s.
Yeah, 2001.
Oh,
Yeah, so these guys are from London, but you'd think they were from California.
okay.
In actual fact, they did a few gigs around, venues around London, and then they moved to America.
What's the? You got the names of the members? See if I recognise them.
You might do. I don't know whether you will do or not. If I tell you that they became Pete Yorn's backing band for a time,
Right. Oh, okay.
In actual fact, when I saw Pete Yorn in New York, when he was supporting Crowded House, these guys were his backing band then.
Right. All English dudes, just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So the lead singer and guitarist Simon Petty.
okay.
He's done some solo stuff, and then there's Sid Jordan on bass, Tim Walker on guitar, and Malcolm Cross the drummer. They did change a member, I think, for the second album. But
Has it got all those like blurry black and white photos in there?
How do you know that?
I caught the far end one. I thought
Right.
that just looks like a
Yeah.
typical late 90s, early 2000s.
So let me tell you this, Bob. This is how it worked. Even only like 20 years ago, they moved to America. I'm just checking my notes. Yeah, they did a gig at the Troubadour, a gig at the Viper Rooms, and then T-Bone Burnett signed them up to make an album. That's how it worked, right? So obviously so it's Americana. So I would describe it. What have I written down? I've written Americana. I've written Tom Petty. I've written a bit of Counting Crows. Probably the Gin Blossoms in there as well.
Yeah.
Very sunny sounding. Then I wrote the Wallflowers. So that sort of vibe.
Can I pick it up on eBay for like £2, including
I bet you
postage?
can. Yeah, I think it's still. This is on Universal. So this is the story which we all hear. They got picked up, did this album with T-Bone Burnett. Apparently they hired the drum kit that Dave Grohl recorded Nevermind on. That sort of thing,
Yeah.
Right? Big studio. Did quite a lot of tours. Who did I put down that they toured with? I thought I'd made a note. And now I can't remember. Did this album, Universal, got dropped because it got no support. And it's absolutely brilliant. It's just one... The first track, Holiday from Myself, it's just so catchy. You think if you can just hear it driving down some road in America with the window down, see it at the side of, it's just so catchy.
How did you hear about him?
That's a very good question. Probably from a review.
That don't happen very often.
No. Well, maybe I read about him. I don't know, or I honestly can't remember. I mean, we've talked about this before. I might have picked that up in Selected Disc and thought, oh yeah, they look like my sort of music.
Well, that's what Selected Disc used to do, didn't they? They used to put it on the sticker.
Yeah.
It sounds like such and such.
Yeah.
Which is a genius move.
In around 2007, when Pete Yorn, who is one of my, and he's up there, one of my top. I didn't pick a Pete Yorn album because he's obviously been quite successful. And even though he's not massive here, so I didn't. But 2007, I think these guys supported him, and he said they were one of the best bands he'd heard of the type. So they became his backing band for a couple of years around 2007 on the Nightcrawler album for Pete Yorn, which is when he did a bit of work with Butch Walker. So when I saw him in New York, when I saw Pete Yorn in New York when he supported Crowded House, these guys were the backing band, and it's just a great. So it's another one you'd like that, definitely.
Yeah,
right up your street.
I'm going on eBay for that bad boy.
Yeah, definitely. The
Music Magpie, here I come.
The next album is also very good. Fly Below the Radar, which is obviously a hit.
So how did they do the next album? Somebody else pick them up?
I think it was done independently.
Right. Good for them.
But you can imagine they made that. You'd think you'd made it, wouldn't you? You get signed to Universal. Yeah, and the debt you must have got in making this record that you think somebody's going to promote. It's just so depressing, isn't it, really?
It's just so, like we say, though, you can work all those years and years and years as an unsigned band, eventually get that deal.
Yeah.
And your work's only just starting, man.
Yeah. Just very quickly before you do your next one.
Yeah.
Did you see that Butch Walker's been working with the Wallflowers on their new
album? I did,
yeah. Yeah, I need to listen to it. I haven't listened to it yet. And I'm going to listen to that tonight. I forgot.
And Jacob Dylan was on Joe Rogan's podcast, wasn't he, a few weeks ago?
I don't know. No,
like
I didn't know.
3-hour Joe Rogan's interviews are always about 3 hours, so
yeah.
he probably got something out of
He's got something in common with us then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're setting the bar.
Yeah, very good. So then, Bob, what's your next one?
Okay. Still in 1995. No plan on
you've
that,
gone much earlier than me.
And actually, saying 1995, I think I'd have to confirm. This might have actually been on that same compilation CD while the Gingersol one was on.
Yeah.
And I think this might be the most valuable CD in my entire CD collection.
Blimey.
Yeah. Okay, and this is a band called the Loveless.
Ah.
A Tale of Gin and Salvation.
That's cool.
Totally independent release.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going from the cover, I don't know if this is pre-Pulp Fiction or...
Yeah.
When did Pulp Fiction come out? It looks like it's...
Not sure.
Around that time, wasn't it? So it's probably a direct influence on it.
Yeah.
But this is just a friggin' amazing... Well, it's a pop album, basically. But when I say pop, I'm saying pop in the vein of like the Cars and all that kind of thing. The Loveless are actually... I don't know if you've ever heard of a band called Electric Angels.
Might ring a bell.
From New York. They had a couple of singles. Ryan Rox's kind of first big band. Ryan
Right.
Roxy from this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it
Oh
is.
yeah, just have your head. Yeah.
But he left Electric Angels, and Electric Angels went on to form the Loveless.
Right.
So there's three of the guys I think it's three of the guys: John Schubert, the drummer, Shane, the singer, and somebody, I don't know if you know this guy called Jonathan Daniel. Does that name ring any bells?
Daniel, I'm not sure. What's he done then?
Most famous now for being Butch Walker's manager.
Oh right. Ah.
And also the manager of bands like Train.
Oh.
And yeah, the guy's done all right for himself.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah.
But if you just want some super slick guitar-based pop songs, this album is just amazing. And apparently it's quite collectible, this record.
Is it? Right.
Yeah. I think some people pay like about £100 for it, which is nuts.
So
and again,
where did
Selected
you pick?
Disc.
Selected Disc, right.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't go wrong at Selected Disc in
I
nuts,
know.
dude. I was like
No.
straight down there. Loveless, thank you very much. Probably
Yeah.
the only copy they ever had and the only copy they ever sold.
Yeah.
But it's
the
amazing.
I went to university in Nottingham, and the amount of hours I spent in Selected Disc,
Yeah.
Warehead, obviously, as you did, and Arcade Records, and
Yeah.
Virgin in the days when they actually
Oh man,
sold a lot of music. Yeah.
Virgin used to be. I remember. I was thinking about this actually the other day. Because I went down Nottingham. I think of some of the old shops and stuff. And I remember one of the first times I went into Virgin Records. We used to go downstairs and they had like the comic department, and it was dead
Yeah.
grotty and dead
Yeah.
grubby.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. They had the T-shirts down the other end.
I used to spend
Awesome.
hours in there.
Yeah.
Literally hours. Just that's where my student. I shouldn't say this, should I? On film. That's where my student loan went. Well, that's one of the reasons I've got such a big CD collection.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just yeah. It's again tangent alert. It's just when people like you and I talk about it, who this is gonna. I don't want this to sound pompous, but people like us that music matters to so much, you know, the fact that I know there are still record shops, and I'm guilty of not going in them, right? I'll old man's up and say that, but in the heady days of Selected Disc and all the shops in Nottingham, it is a bit yeah. You have to try not to dwell on it too much. That you used to do those things, and that will people experience it the same? I know. Angela, my wife, and I were talking about this a little bit earlier about the vinyl resurgence, and I said, yeah, but it's still minuscule compared to what it was. It's minuscule, So
And very expensive.
well, it is these days, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, God, again, here he goes again, Pearl Jam. But I remember going in. I think it was the Rough Trade. Was it Rough Trade I went in Nottingham, or was it? Yeah, the one in Broadmoor. That's Rough Trade. Yeah. And looking how much they've got loads of Pearl Jam vinyl in there, but looking now how much they were £25, and and I think I've probably already got like 10. I've got that many versions of it now because I've bought all the reissue versions with it. And I think I can't justify buying it on vinyl just to look at it because I haven't actually got a record player that works at the moment. So yeah, no, that's all great, isn't it? But then, if you get me started, Bob, on walking.
But you said that you don't go. You're guilty of not going into record shops anymore. It's like, why is that? Is that because we're older and we've got other things to be doing?
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
When you was a teenager, you was just 100% totally consumed. I'm going to find a new band today. I'm going to go down and find some new music.
I'm not saying I don't find new music now, not as much as I used to, but look, we're both busy people, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, I wanted that John Mayer album, so I ordered it off Amazon, and it came the day it was released. And I don't know. Yeah. I'm a complete hypocrite.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But it's that doing this, I think, reminds me, as I'm sure it does you, the halcyon days. God, what an old git I am. Right. Anyway.
Yeah, the Loveless, 1995. Check it out, guys.
Yeah.
There's a song on there called "The Return of the Ex-Girlfriend," which is some of the most clever lyrics in a beautifully composed pop song that you'll ever hear. It's
right, very good. Another one. I'll check that out. Right, my next one. I've said this about every record I hear, but I'm going for a bit of let's call it Southern rock. Right.
Okay.
This is Poor. Can you see that?
I recognise that cover.
Yeah. I'm trying to get the angle. There we go.
Yeah.
Right. So this is same story, Bob. This is Poor's second album. Right. The first album, Dragline, had got that song Jessie on it. It was all over, like, if we watch Raw Power and those sort of things, you know,
All right.
it would have been on there, and it might have been MTV or whatever, about the dog, Jessie, you're a good dog, right?
Okay.
Album number 2, which I like that album, but much better, No Support from A&M, got dropped, right?
What year is that then? A&M?
95. This is a bit older
Okay.
than the other, 95. So I described this, as Southern rock with an alternate sensibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So what's the background of them? Are they from other bands, or was there?
there were, but it's two. The mainstays, the 3 mainstays, because they had a couple of different bass players, are Grant Fitch and Peter Fitch, who were a guitarist and drummer, and then Mark Hennessy was the vocalist. Got very much a southern drawl. Now you see, he's one of those singers we were talking about. He's very gravelly, well, reasonably, but I just love his voice. It's just fits the music so perfectly. You can imagine him singing like blues stuff, but it's not blues. It's not southern rock. Makes it sound a bit old man thing, I suppose.
Yeah,
but it's got that vibe, but it's still very much alternative of the 90s. Yeah,
nice.
So if I tell you that they were seen as the next Nirvana, and there was quite a big bidding war for them apparently. So they got signed to A&M on the strength of that. So the first album did reasonably well and got very good reviews. This got very good reviews, but they just didn't back it. I don't know why. But they supported Rage Against the Machine, supported Tool.
Yeah.
They've played, done some big tours. But I just think they don't sound anything like Nirvana, other than its distorted guitars. It's got a bit of an Americana influence, but in a rockier way. A bit Screaming Trees, a bit. You could almost there is a slight REM-ness to it, but again in a much rockier way. But the southern rock thing comes from his voice basically. He's
That's
got
cool.
the real.
If there's some videos to check out, some Raw Power era videos.
Yeah, well, there's definitely a video for Jessie from the previous album. What was it? Hope I Die Tonight. That was the big song off this album, I think. Grant Fitch, the guitarist, he played. He plays. He's still alive. Why am I talking like that? He plays Les Pauls, but with P90 pickups, not like humbuckers. And that I had a period where I had quite a few. I had a few Les Pauls, and I really wanted one like that, but I couldn't get one that was cheap enough. So it's the guitar.
Where are they from?
I think they're from. Are they from Kansas? I've written that down. Yeah, they're from Kansas.
Okay.
Who was this produced by? No. I should know this. By the band and Cliff Norrell. So, but So I mean, on A&M, which I think at the time had got Soundgarden as well. So you can imagine why they signed them when you listen to it.
But that's a bit tough though, isn't it? If Soundgarden, they're going to have the priority.
Exactly, and they can sell 5 million copies of Super Unknown, but this has got, without getting too personal about it, there's the second track called Season Glove. It's got the best lyrics about a family breakup I think I've ever heard, and it's still. I can feel myself.
Did you get it around the time it came out? Or did you find it?
Yeah. So I got this first, and then I bought the first album, which happens a lot, doesn't it? You discover the newest one. But Season Glove. If you want to hear a song about heartbreak this is happy stuff, isn't it? Of a family breakup. The lyrics are just so poignant, fantastic, and so the one of those. Go on.
Any idea what they all went on to do later?
Well, they did 2 albums. This is the second one. They did an EP, and then they split up, and they got back together and did another EP more recently. I've got it, but I've got all the stuff but it's not a patch on this. But they've all been in different, much less successful bands. Because you think to yourself, well, you did an album and you got dropped, but you've toured all over the world. Like you said earlier, you've toured all over the world. You've played with some of the biggest bands in the world. But yeah, I know one of them ended up going back to work because it got to.
Wow.
You know, so it's things like that happen that people think, oh, you're a full-time musician, you must be rolling in it.
No chance.
Yeah, and can you imagine how much money they must have owed the A&M?
Let's have a look at them. Put the back cover close to the screen.
Very bearded. Hang on, wait a minute. Can you see it? Very bearded look.
Look like they're straight off from a day of
chopping wood,
pulling trees down.
Yeah.
Trees.
Yeah. So
felling trees. Felling. That was the word I was after.
Yeah, that's Grant Fitz, the guitar player, who's got the obviously, I wanted some dungarees at the time. I don't think I dare wear any. I've not had dungarees. Looks
like Chris Shiflett from Foo Fighters from here.
Does he? Maybe he looks like he's got a very thick neck. But you can just but you could just look at that, and I'd look at that cover and think, I'm buying that.
Yeah.
Because it's on A&M. So there's a few different things influenced me about buying. You've already said before, you're the same. Buying an album you've never heard of. One is what the band look like. If there's a shot of them, you think, I'll give that a go. And secondly, the label it's on.
Yeah.
I bought loads of albums on Epic and A&M because I knew they were signing bands at the time that I'd like. And thirdly, who the producer was.
Yeah.
I'll get onto that in a minute. So yeah, so if you like sort of quite aggressive, bluesy country, Americana type rock, sung by someone who sounds like he's drunk a bottle of whiskey, then you'll love it. It's definitely worth checking out. It's on
nice, dude.
On streaming services because I checked. So right, next one then, Bob.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Right, I'm going to fast forward a few years.
Okay.
From 1995 to 2004.
Right.
I'm sometimes weird. It's probably the case with a lot of albums in my collection. There's some albums which I'll get, which I adore and I love to bits, which is the case for this album. But then I never buy anything else from the band again.
Right.
Why is that? Have you ever done that? Am I unique?
Probably. No, I think
when I first got into music, I'd buy a band's entire back catalogue.
Yeah.
Whether I listened to so much music, I don't know. But this is from 2004. This is a band called The Explosion.
The Explosion.
An album called Black Tape.
That vaguely rings a bell.
Yeah. This wasn't my original copy. This came out right when I was doing Trash Pit, my fanzine.
Right.
And I was sent an advance copy of it.
Yeah.
And I thought the logo looked cool, so I thought I'd give that a listen.
Yeah.
And I love the album so much. When I actually brought this from Amoeba Records in Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
That's why it says $2.99, $2.99.
$2.99. Yeah.
But this came out right in the middle of when bands like Good Charlotte were huge.
Right.
All around that. Who else was there around that? Good Charlotte, Sum 41.
Yeah.
All that time. I actually saw him supporting Good Charlotte.
Right.
But this, to me, I think if I played this to like Jamie from TCC, I think he might actually have this album. He'd say, yeah, that sounds like a real punk band.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't record label influenced or whatever. It just sounds like a really genuine rock and roll punk band album. And it's fucking great. I love it to this day every time it comes on. All the songs are awesome on there.
Yeah.
But another band, I think, they're from Boston originally, but just dropped and bidding wars, everything's going great. Then the record label just doesn't do anything with them and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a great album. Formed in the late 1990s, split up 2 or 3 years after this came out. But this is just great. Black Tape by The Explosion. If you like some punk songs but with great melody and hooks and big choruses, fucking great. Love it.
Very well.
I don't know if you dived into any of that kind of music.
Not massively. I'm not a big fan of like the Sum 41, that sort of stuff.
No.
I didn't. Did you like The Offspring? I bet you did, didn't you?
I never. My wife Jane loves them. But, and they've got some great songs, but I don't know. Offspring are a weird band who I always felt wanted to be like totally serious and respected, but then they do these like weird, silly throwaway songs.
Crazy and videos.
It was for me. It was two polar opposite what the Offspring were doing. They're after like the credible, and they always look boring as shit live.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They really did.
I get that completely. Yeah. No, that sort of stuff passed me by a bit. I just didn't like that. Like the Green Day Dookie.
Right.
I've got it and I listen to it, but it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't really do a lot for me.
No.
Interestingly, while we're talking about that, so there's an article today on The Guardian about how this is their take on it, and I don't know any of the acts that they're referring to, but there's a lot of women taking on that sort of pop punk thing. They mentioned Sum 41. Who else did they mention in it? They mentioned Green Day. They do it in a way that makes that, in a very derogatory way, saying, "Oh, but now it's much better because these new bands are doing it." But I'll have to listen to some of these new bands and see what I think of them.
I'd be interested to see what bands this suggests.
Yeah, because on the one hand, that's good, isn't it? If it's women taking it on, and B, younger people wanting to play guitar and make that sort of music again. But I just don't like the way they have to denigrate the bands that are the original
forerunners of it.
I find it slightly, it's very snooty. I don't really like that.
That's kind of the way publications do it.
It is, isn't it? I know. And even though without putting my politics up too much, Bob, I am a Guardian reader, you know. I never forgive them for every time, and they do, every time they talk about new metal, they mention Incubus. And Incubus and not a new metal band. Thank you. I've made my point. I don't think they were ever a new metal band, ever. So, there we go. Right.
That's like Cinderella being called a hair metal band. Was they really a hair metal band, or was they just dropped into it?
I'm glad you mentioned that. Did you see that their guitar player passed away?
Jeff LeBar.
Yeah.
That was a shot. I mean,
I was just
56.
Yeah, 56.
54, 56.
I was going to message you. I was going to mention it when we messaged about sorting out today, and then I didn't. Yeah.
But their actual keyboard player died at the same day. I don't know if you knew that.
You're joking. Did he? Yeah. No, I didn't see that.
Because they had like a session touring kind of keyboard player. And I can't remember his name now, which makes me look a right asshole. But he was also the keyboard player for Kiss as well and stuff like that. And
no, now you mention it, that rings a bell now that I saw somebody mention that. No, that Jeff, it's so that made me just go back and listen to a couple of bits. We're not going down that. We've done that. We've done that one already. If anyone wants to know my opinions on Cinderella, go back and listen to the top 5 hard rock albums. Right, the next one. I've got the man in, Bob. I've managed to squeeze him in. Right, I've got to put this in because I do really like this record, and that's Mourning Widows.
Ah,
you know this?
Nice. Yes, I do. Yeah.
So, if anyone doesn't know, Mourning Widows is Nuno Betancourt's project after his. Was it Schizophonic, isn't it, the album? The solo album's called.
Yeah.
So this is what he did after. This subsequently became... So Mourning Widows did 2 albums. Then it became Population 1, which was just basically Nuno on his own. Another solo album. And then that became Drama Gods.
Oh, blimey. I forgot all about those names, man.
Yeah. I've got all those albums,
Yeah? They'll be worth some pennies, I bet, some of them.
Yeah, because a couple of those are Japanese limited editions, because it's the only way I could get hold of them. So this album, I mean, it is a Nuno solo project, really. I think it's his brother plays bass.
Okay. And they're all like super talented.
I know they are, yeah. And I think Nuno played drums on this.
Yeah.
It was credited to a pseudonym. I'm sure that's right.
What?
And then they did have a guy, I think his name's Jeff Consey, played on the second album. But Mike Mangini,
yeah.
I think he toured with them for a bit.
Nice.
So
what year was that then?
This one is 98.
Okay.
This is a Japanese version because it's got two bonus tracks on it. In fact,
I don't think I've ever heard any of that stuff.
Brilliant.
Which is like really bad.
So this one sounds like Extreme.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't sound. It's got the funkiness to it, right? And you can imagine if Gary Sharon sang on this, it'd sound like Extreme, right? There's some great tracks on it, but you would know, being an Extreme fan, and I would know being an Extreme fan, and as both means you can tell it's Nuno. It just sounds like him.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the drums sound like him. I've realised now that the drums sound like him. I can recognise the drumming style from Schizophrenic.
Yeah,
I've just thought of that.
I like Schizophrenic. I thought it was like
It's
Foo
very
Fighters
good.
before Foo Fighters.
Yeah, it's a very good album. It's a very good album. So this album sounds more like Extreme. The second one, Furnish Souls for Rent, which again I think is also is a Japanese copy. That's very heavy.
Yeah.
The songs aren't as good. The songs are better on this one. So if you like Nuno, but you still want him to be funky.
And he's singing on it, right?
Yeah. All him
I
singing,
love
yeah.
his voice. His
Yeah,
voice is
I
great.
do. It really suits what he's doing on these so well. He still looks pretty good, doesn't he? If you see what he looks like now.
He's just put up a cover of Creep by Radiohead, hasn't he?
Has he? No, I've not
Yeah.
seen that. All right. Yeah. You see, we've mentioned this before, Bob, that I had a Washburn Nuno guitar, the cheap one. I couldn't afford an M4. But fairly recently, Washburn have put out a new guitar that's like a Telecaster shape.
Right.
Looks very smart. God knows how much it is. So he's playing that at the moment. But I think in this period he had what was it called? A P4, I think it was called. Well, that might be what the new one's called. But it was a strange sort of mix between a Tele and a Jazzmaster that he was playing at this time. I wanted one of them as well. But
Where was you finding all about that stuff? Because I only heard about those kind of albums, just like drip feed.
I've got no idea. I can't remember that. How did I find that? I don't know. I tell you, perhaps from read about because he used to do a lot of guitar magazine interviews. So that's another place that I like. I used to buy Guitarist every month, but to get news of the bands I liked, it was Guitar World and Guitar Player, the American ones. So I perhaps heard about it in there.
Okay.
I don't know. That would make sense that's where I heard about it. But yeah, you again. I know I've not tried to pick every album that I think you'd like, but you'd like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And any Extreme fan would like that if they've not heard it. So yeah, Mourning Widows. The second one's good, but I think this is better.
Superb, man. Superb.
Right,
nice
what's your next one then?
One more, last one.
Yeah.
Heaviest one in my collection. Of collection of 5 anyway. I don't know if you've heard any of this band or not. From Norway.
From Norway.
A band called Span.
Span.
Never heard of them?
The cover looks vaguely familiar, but yeah. So what does that sound like then, Bob? What sort of thing is that?
Well, if you go by the sticker on the front, where Kerrang described them.
Oh, I must be right.
Which is pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
A shaken and rattled DNA cocktail of 70s Aerosmith and Jane's Addiction. Which would be enough to spark my interest.
Yeah.
I actually don't know how I heard this band, which is kind of weird. I do know they had a pretty big single on like Kerrang or Scuzz. I don't know if Scuzz was around about this time.
Right.
Because this is 2004.
Yeah.
But they had a song called Don't Think the Way We Do. That was the big single off that. And it's just great, man. Band from Norway. They describe themselves, I've got it here, Norwegian Turbo Rock and Roll Commandos, which I think's great. But another one of those bands, loads and loads of label interest, got signed but never got pushed, then got dropped.
Yeah.
They did another album after this, which was only released in Norway. But yeah, if you like, it came out just at that right time of, if you like Velvet Revolver, or I don't know if you're familiar with Danko Jones or anything like that. Just great big dirty riffs.
Yeah.
This band, I've been listening to it today actually. I'd not listened to it for probably 18 months or 2 years, but yeah, fucking great, man.
Right.
Span.
The cover looks vaguely familiar. Vaguely, I don't know. Yeah. I might have seen it on
straight ahead rock and roll.
Yeah.
There's like Aerosmith in there, but yeah, I think like Velvet Revolver, or if you're into Foo Fighters, when Foo Fighters are heavy.
Yeah.
Check them out.
I like Velvet Revolver as well.
Oh god, man, you probably like this then.
The first album, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I saw him at Donington actually one year around that similar time, just in one of the tents.
Have they done anything else then? What?
They broke up. The singer's gone on to do some stuff, a bit of a solo career.
Right.
And I think some of the guys went and formed a band called Dog Almighty, which I got that album.
Right.
Yeah. But it was like really heavy. Total contrast.
I'm going to say, it's that thing, Bob, when you say Norwegian rock, or you're thinking about the band stood in graveyards, aren't you? That go.
This is nothing like that.
That go.
Oh, no way. No way. Yeah.
Sorry to
Like
anybody
Guns N'
that.
Roses, Aerosmith,
Right.
just
Oh,
big
that sounds
dirty
good.
riffs.
Yeah.
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 It's
What's
great,
the
man.
singing
Really,
like
really
then?
good.
Is what?
Oh, it's really melodic and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but attitudey and edgy. It's great. It's
Right.
good.
Right.
Check
My,
them out.
my last official one, and then we'll talk about. We can
Okay.
just have I say
Alright.
very quick. We'll try and keep it not too long.
Yeah.
Pete Droge.
I was going to pick that one.
This is the one that. So I've got a spare ready in case that you pick this.
Yeah, that was on my shortlist. That
Yeah.
would be one of my honourable mentions.
So I bought this from a record shop in Falmouth in Cornwall.
Yeah.
And I tell you why I bought it. I think because Pete Droge is mates with Stone Gossard from Pearl Jam.
Okay.
Right? But as soon as I saw it was produced by Brendan O'Brien, one of my 3 tests,
Yeah.
I thought he produces music I like. So
Great album.
what a record that is! It's just one single after another, isn't it? I've got a feeling. Did I buy that? And what's the next one called? Was it Find a Door? The next one.
I think it is.
When he
actually,
became Pete Droge in the Sin. I've got a feeling I
Yeah,
bought 2 together. Yeah,
I've
they
got
used
that
to.
one somewhere as well.
I don't know whether you've ever been to Falmouth. You must have been to Falmouth at some point. You never
I
been?
don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
There used to be a really good record shop just out of the town, up this hill going out. I bought quite a lot of music from there in the past. But yeah, what year is this?
That would
94.
be about 90. Oh, shit.
94. So, would that, yeah, that ties in with the period I thought. Yeah, so I reckon, maybe I didn't buy them both together, but certainly this one came from there.
No, the other one came out about 2 or 3 years after.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, If You Don't Love Me, I Kill Myself is such a,
All right, classic.
what a song that is. But the one that always gets me, well, Northern Bound Train and Strailing Street, I just love those. So those first 3 tracks, just off the top of my head, I on a debut, I couldn't think of the 3 best first.
Where did he come from? Do you know?
No, well, I mean, he's on that scene, so
Yeah.
he's from Seattle, so it must have been. I know now he does a lot of commercials, doesn't he? That's what I mean. He's probably, yeah, he lives on an island, you know, one of the islands. Yeah, he's got a studio on there, and he did some music for one of the Toyota commercials, but he's done stuff for films and all sorts of things. But of course, what we've got to mention, Bob, is Peter Stroud,
Right.
guitar player on this. Obviously now in Sheryl Crow's band.
Sheryl Crow's band, yeah.
But he's one of my favourite guitar players of all time.
You love that guy.
I think he's fantastic. Just because he's one of those guitar players, right? That you know, if you saw him playing, I can tell that if he wanted to, he could play anything. He could shred all over you. But he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to because he knows he can. That's the best sort of guitar player to be. It's like this. One of my students has got an incredibly expensive car, right? Like a sports coupe thing, and we often have this comment. And he knows when he gets some traffic lights, some lad pulls at the side of him in his Corsa,
Starts
and he wants to race, and Mike just lets him go because he knows he's only got to just very lightly touch his finger on the paddle or whatever, and it'd be a day ahead of him straight away, you know. So Peter Stroud's one of them guys that just you could think what he does is quite simple, but the guy's timing and feel, but
wonderful.
So this record, I just think it's one of the best debut albums.
Yeah,
I could think of. It's
that could
good.
do with a vinyl reissue.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, I mean, it needs. I don't know whether it necessarily needs remastering. I think the productions, because Brendan O'Brien, at that time, he was well known for. Again, I don't like to keep referencing him all the time, but if you think about Pearl Jam's first record, was covered in reverb and echo, and then when they did Versus, when Brendan O'Brien stepped on board, it's like in your face, dry. Not completely dry. We're not talking like waiting for the punchline dry, but the contrast between 10 and then so I just love the sounds he got. Now you see, this is interesting. Brendan O'Brien gets a very clean sound, but it doesn't sound overly polished or anemic. Anemic's the word I'd use for a lot of these records now. Yeah. But I'd urge anybody who likes sort of Americana or Tom Petty or Power Pop or
Yeah, it's everything.
Oh,
It's
anything.
everything.
It's everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Country, blues. They've got to listen to this record. They've really got to listen to it.
And that's from both of us. We both love that album.
Yeah. No, that's the one I've got a spare over here just in case, because I thought if there's one that Bob could mention out of everything that I've picked.
Yeah, it was on my list. It was on my short list.
So what are your sort of? I don't like to use the word also around, but what's on your sort of
well, that was on
recommend-
one of them.
Yeah.
Another one which was on my list was a band called Damone. I don't know if you've
Damone.
heard anything by
No.
them. Their second album, I believe, called Out All Night. Another
Yeah.
band from Boston. I see I have loads of bands from Boston. But they're a really great band. They had like a bit of a lineup change on the second album. Female singer, Noelle LeBlanc, she's great.
Right.
First album, what was it called? I can't remember what it's called. It's totally gone out of my head. But more power pop. Out All Night is it's weird because the guy had a guy called Mike Woods play guitar on it.
Right.
And if you listen to his riffs, it's very Iron Maiden, like
Is
proper metal riffs.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider them anything like Iron Maiden because it's just a
Right.
great pop rock album.
Yeah.
But strangely enough, they do cover Wasted Years on this album,
Right.
like in an acoustic fashion, which is lovely, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was on there. And my other one was Funny Thing by 40 Foot Ringo, which was what Steve Brown and PJ Farley from Trickster went on to do
Right.
in the mid-90s, which is just another great power pop album. And me and Rob Wild often say that was one of the blueprints for Teenage Casket Company.
Right.
No one's doing the hard rock we love, but this is kind of a way of doing it.
Yeah. So
Cut the air short, drop a few of the guitar solos, but the
What?
hooks are still there. Like a lot of the bands did.
yeah, well, that's very true. Yeah. So you said about was it the what were they called? Ginger pop.
Gingersol.
Yeah, Gingersol.
Gingersol.
Was that the one you said it got quite a big influence on some of your musical output? That was the one you
Yes.
said, wasn't it?
Yeah, because to me, I'd been listening to all these massive bands. Then I heard this and I thought, this sounds great, but this sounds like a band in a garage. I could have a shot at doing this.
Yeah.
This is achievable, if you like.
Yeah. That's
I don't
it.
think I ever come close, but sounds all right.
Did it make you think that because you thought they weren't like on a tier above you at the time? Because you never want to think. You never want to think that even big bands. I don't think you do anyway. This is my problem. You don't want to ever think that big bands you like are necessarily better than you, but when you find a band like that you like, do you think that that's more achievable? I can get to where they are.
yeah, it's more achievable. It's not,
Yeah.
and again, it's like it sounds like a band in a garage.
Yeah.
It's not loads of stuff I don't understand how they've got that sound. I can hear the guitars,
Yeah.
drums, bass, and vocals.
Yeah.
You just got to get a decent band, get it recorded well. And
Yeah.
you've got a great little E EP.
Yeah. So you said that you were very much similar opinion to me, are you? That you bought a lot of albums on the face of what the cover looked like.
Yeah, it's when I don't know if it's when you had disposable income, right? I'm just going to
Of
go
course
and
it
buy
is,
some
yeah.
albums today.
Yeah. Or a student loan.
I don't know what I'm going to buy.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back with a couple of albums and I'm going
Yeah.
to listen to them to death until
Yeah.
I like them.
But can you do that as easily in the modern sphere now, where you're basically buying online?
No, because I don't think you can. Well, I don't think you'll get as invested. It's that age-old
No.
thing where if you listen to it online, it's like watching a film on Netflix. If you're bored of it after 10 minutes, you're going to turn it off and go on to somewhere
Yeah.
else.
So
you don't give it that rotation.
No, you don't. How much physical product do you buy these days, Bob?
Very little, if I'm honest. I couldn't tell you
Yeah.
the last time I actually put a CD in a CD player,
Aren't you?
which is really bad of me.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's just that. So do you listen? What do you do? Just listen on the phone with headphones then, or on your computer?
It's just mainly through the computer now, which I
Yeah.
listen to
Yeah.
while I'm doing other work,
Yeah.
which is crazy to think. But I'm sure a
Yeah.
lot of people are the same. It's
Yeah.
nuts.
I mean, I do try. Obviously, well, I remember vividly. My grandma, when her grandchildren turned 18, she gave us all a certain amount of money. So that's when I bought my first really good stereo, first CD.
Yeah.
I mean, I was buying CDs before I'd even got a CD player.
Yeah, I was as well. Got to get one eventually.
Yeah. Well, can you remember what the first CD was that you bought before that you couldn't play?
It might have been, I might be wrong, it might have been the second Taiketo album, Strength in
Oh,
Numbers.
right, yeah.
Because I think they only released it on CD.
Right.
So I thought, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to buy it eventually. It might
Yeah.
have been that one.
I think my first one that I bought on CD was that I couldn't play was the first Stone Temple Pilots album.
Right?
I'd probably got it on cassette, and I think I'm not sure. No, I must have had Versus when I got a CD player. The second Pearl Jam album, I can't remember. But yeah, I just started buying it. I knew I was going to get this stereo with this CD player,
Yeah.
so I thought I'll just start buying them now.
Need some for when you get it.
Yeah. No, it's that. Yeah, it's not quite the same, is it? Because you go on Amazon. Sorry, I feel like I'm bloody advertising. You go on whatever your preferred online retailer is, and you do browse, but you don't. You go on because you want to buy something, don't you? That you know is coming out. It's and it's taken, even though you get the album on the day it's released, if you pre-order it off site, still not the same as rushing into Nottingham or Derby on the day it releases it to go and buy it. You don't get the same buzz.
Mate, I used to, the amount of times I did that before college, when you weren't needed to be in college, I used to get probably the 7 o'clock, well, I don't know what time HMV opened. I guess they opened at 9.
Yeah.
So I used to get like the 8 o'clock bus down. So I'd be there on a Monday morning to whatever album, or even 7 inches when I used to buy all like the 7 inches. Because if you went on the Monday, everything would be 99p when they used to release them all on different formats.
Yeah.
About 5 different formats for one single. So I'd just go down there and just snap them all up.
Yeah.
Oh, the cool thing, if we had the record cabinet here, I've told this story many times, but if he used to open up and stock up on a Sunday, so if there's an album that was coming out on the Monday, you could go on the Sunday and he'd give it to you early.
Wow, that's cool.
Which is
that's really cool.
It's great.
Yeah. Did you get familiar with any of the lads that worked in Selector Disc?
Don't think so.
A couple of them. No, there was one. Now I can't. Wait, I've started this sentence. Now I can't remember his name. That I did used to chat with a little bit. But they seemed like cool people who worked in there.
Yeah.
But they always. I always found they were quite approachable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selectors was a nice place.
Yeah. I never felt
you
that
didn't feel like intimidated.
No, not at all. No, and I could ask him if have you got such and such, or no, you know.
Yeah. I mean, my place became Big Ass Records in Nottingham in the West End Arcade. In the very early 2000s. Neil, who ran that, he was a bit of a hero to me. He's great.
Yeah.
It was just a melodic rock shop. I don't know if you ever went in. It was
I know of it, but and
he'd just say, "Oh, you got to check this album out. You got to check this album out," and that was just brilliant.
Yeah.
Nice. You could go on check out this band Minibar.
Definitely. I think out of what I definitely think Minibar, and I think the Rockfords. And you definitely need to listen to Mourning Widows. It'd be interesting to see what you think about Paul.
I'll check them all out, man.
Yeah, I will as well. Yeah.
I'll send you a list of them.
Send me a list now. Yeah. So that's a little insight into the darker recesses of our record collection. And anyway,
we can go deeper.
Yeah, we can. And you're going to test me with my editing skills, Bob, with the little dip in the middle. But never mind.
Yeah,
we'll cope with that. Right, cool. So hopefully we'll agree on the next topic, and there won't be so much of a gap in between episodes.
It's fine, man.
Yeah.
People are clamouring for it. They're waiting for us.
Desperate. All right, mate. Nice one. See you soon.
All right, dude. Catch you later, mate.
See you. Bye.